Over the years, I've tested thousands of fragrances and most of them are mid at best. But these right here, these are the fragrances that I have people stop and say,
"Oh, that boy cold."
Let me go on and get this one out of the way. This is Kilian's Angel Share, and it's probably best to think about this fragrance like a glass of cognac that's been spiked with cinnamon and caramel. I find this fragrance to be boozy, warm, and a little bit thought-provoking. Spray this, walk in any room and start snatching souls. Now this next fragrance is so great that it's even in its name. No, really, I mean, Initio's Oud for Greatness is not your everyday scent, but since you're cultured, it could be. With this fragrance, you'll smell like this satisfying mix of dry saffron, nutmeg, and a clean oud that'll make you smell rich even in a black t-shirt. You see, this is a fragrance with backbone, but it's still smoother than that one time you double back on your ex. When I think about this next fragrance, it really deserves a full review. You see, Lattafa's Camera Kawa is what you get when you take Camera and you add an espresso shot. It's creamy, it's spicy, and it smells like cinnamon, dates, and dark roasted coffee. But in the winter, this one hits harder than a sneaky left hook from Tank. This fragrance is affordable, it's potent, and it also has this monster performance. I don't find this to be a full-on gourmand, but it's also not too cloying. This winter, this fragrance could help you find the balance you've been looking for. So last week, I got a call from a friend, and he was looking for a new fragrance. He said he was standing in Sephora looking at Joe Malone, but before he pulled the trigger, he wanted to get a personalized recommendation. Well, I told him Jazz Club. He smelled it, his wife fell in love, and he purchased it on the spot. You see, Jazz Club smells like this hazy mist of rum, tobacco, and vanilla. And it just happens to have that it factor. Think leather chairs, dim lights, and zoot suits. This fragrance happens to be amazing on all counts. Now, there's also this pink pepper here that adds this herbal touch and a little bit of soft spice. But the warmer notes here would really make this fragrance ideal for winter and date nights. You see, next is Tom Ford's Evan Fumé, and this one's for the big dogs. I also have my neighbor's dogs barking in the background. You see, Evan Fumé is this dry incense, charred wood, and that smoky holy temple vibe. You don't have them speaking in tongues, huh? Look, everything about this fragrance screams wealth. It's rich, it's mysterious, and for this one being a Tom Ford fragrance, you already know that it's quite classy. I feel like this is something that Bruce Wayne would wear to a charity event. I mean, there's nothing sweet about this fragrance, and when you wear it, it just feels like this spiritual awakening. Now, if you're buying your first fragrance, you might want to sit this one out, but if you're feeling a bit froggy, go ahead and hop in the deep end. This is a masterful composition of spices, leather, woods, and resin. Once the temperatures dip, I'm all in on this one. Next up, I got Hibiscus Mahajad, and this is one of the most interesting floral fragrances you've ever experienced. It opens with this tart, red-hued hibiscus. It's bright, slightly sour, and almost juicy. But then it moves into this leathery black tea note, and that in itself just keeps this fragrance grounded. And for the fellas out there, it's floral, yes, but it's not soft. It's textured, deep, and artistic. When you wear this fragrance, it just produces this quiet tension between you and the person in the room. And it feels like the perfect crossroad between elegance and rebellion. In my opinion, for the people who wear this fragrance, fellas included, you're not trying to smell pretty, you're trying to smell different. Next up, we got Dior Sauvage Elixir, and this fragrance is masculine, sharp, and quite aromatic. On first spray, you get this burst of grapefruit and spices right up front. It comes off as a little bright, it's a confident scent, and a little clean. But that's before it melts into this deep lavender, this amazing amber, and this dry patchouli base. If you need something that cuts through the cold air but leaves a powerful, lasting impression, this is it. It's refined but assertive, not loud, but kinda commanding. Moving on, we got Jean Paul Gaultier Le Male Elixir. It takes that familiar Le Male DNA, that creamy vanilla and soft tonka, but then it deepens it with amber and honey. That just kind of adds in this rich golden sweetness that feels magnetic. I mean, really, when I wear this fragrance, I feel like it's cozy, it's sensual, and it also has just the right amount of bold. Since its fragrance release, it's gotten a ton of accolades and even spun off a flanker of its own. So if you want to be the fragrance GOAT, then You heard what I said. Moving on, we got one of my all-time favorite fragrances. From the House of Killian, this one is Black Phantom. Now, oddly enough, despite how I said this fragrance, this one comes off as dark and intoxicating, because nothing was really intoxicating about how I said Phantom. Look, when you wear this fragrance, the rum note hits first. It's thick and it's sweet. But then you get this roasted coffee and there's some caramel. But there's also some patchouli here that make it feel a little heavy, a little damp, and that much more luxurious. This fragrance is rich, it's moody, and it's the type of scent that just sprays and it just kind of lingers for days. Now, I've never found this fragrance to be a playful scent. It's quite alluring, but in this kind of slow burn way. If you want something that's mysterious, deep, and will make people say, "Shiver me timbers," this will do it effortlessly. Now, when I think about this next fragrance, I'm kind of cheating. This one also comes from Mason Crivelli, but this one is Oud Maracuja. Now, I don't own a full bottle, but this one does come with me to travel. And if I forget my primary scent, oh, this one holds me down. Now, Oud Maracuja opens with this burst of passion fruit. That doesn't stay for long. Within minutes, that full sweetness here begins to fade. Really into this smoky but addictive oud that feels almost meditative and even a little aged. I mean, really, I need a full bottle of this fragrance because when I think about it, they've done a phenomenal job of just balancing this scent. On the top, it's youthful. On the drive down and underneath, it's a little ancient. Someone who wears this fragrance knows how to stand out. 6 or 7 years ago, when I did my first How to Attract People Without Saying a Word video, this one could have been on the list. It's bold, it's sophisticated, and truly, it's almost this one of a kind. Now, if Oud Maracuja is outside of your price range, but you're into those oud type of scents, then you might want to try Rabanne's 1 Million Golden Oud. With this one, you get this blend of rich woods, warm spices, and these leathery undertones. That just adds a little bit of structure, support, and weight to the scent. This fragrance is for the guys out there that feel confident and grounded. And within this fragrance is just enough sweetness from the original to kind of soften the edges a bit. Now, when I think about the 1 million lineup of fragrances, this one smells like one for the person out there that's a little bit established. In fact, maybe a lot of it established. They've already proven their point to the world, and now they're just enjoying the finer things. If you want a fragrance that feels powerful but still wearable, then this one does it perfectly. Next, let me get you with a fragrance from Mancera, and this one is Mancera's Eternal Wood. Eternal Wood is dry, it's natural and earthy. And if you catch this one in the air, it almost feels like you just got finished chopping some fresh cedar. Now, there's also a little smoky element here, but there's also this pine-like character that's mixed with a little bit of moss that gives it a rougher edge. There's nothing really polished or synthetic about this scent. It smells pure, elemental, and really strong. Personally, I would pair this one with a beanie and a flannel. And then I would throw on some Timbs or some Prada boots. If you like woody fragrances that feel real, natural, and grounded, then this one just might hit the spot. Next up, I want to circle back to Ojar, and I haven't talked about this brand in a while, but this one is Eagle-Eyed Stranger. This one is clean, herbal, and smooth. When you spray this fragrance, you're going to pick up some basil, a little juniper berry, and some dry woods right away. It's crisp, it's refreshing, and it also has this subtle warmth. It's one of those fragrances that kind of just completes the fit. It makes you feel really put together. Now, if you're a person out there that feel comfortable in your own skin, then this is a scent you might want to step out on a limb with. Now, if you value sophistication without all the extra flash, give this one a try. Before I filmed this video, I had to run downstairs, check my suitcase, and pick this out because I went with a dark theme last week while I was on the road, and this one came into play. Now, if you can't tell just from the bottle, this is Clive Christian's Blonde Amber, which is a fragrance that's deep, it's resinous, and a little golden. Shout out my guy, Michael B. Golden. It opens with this spicy amber warmth, and it just feels plush and inviting. Now, that said, it's followed by these touches of rum and smooth woods that give it this soft texture. I'm doing this like you can feel it, but you get it. Now, by the brand alone, you should know that this one's a little bit elevated, a little more elegant, and a little bit more mature. And of course, Clive Christian takes care of their fragrances, so this one is blended beautifully. Every note just flows into the next, and it's not anything that really just separates this. If I wear this one to the office, then just know I'm not repeating myself twice. Now next, I want to circle back to a house that I've come across here recently, and I'm enjoying what they're offering. This is French Avenue, and the fragrance is Coco Morado. Now, don't let the name of this fragrance fool you here. Coco Morado is more like oud than chocolate. Now, in spraying this fragrance, you might expect to get chocolate in its rawest form, but instead you're getting this cacao butter deep in the base. That's my base. But before you get there, support is brought in from this patchouli, musk, and dates. But don't get me wrong, this fragrance is not dessert-like. It's more desert, earthy, and sensual. Now, if you're into moody, unconventional fragrances, then this one might be less of a challenge for you. As a fragrance inspired by Mason Crivelli's Oud Credenza, this one just has this je ne sais quoi. And whatever that is, I like it. Next, let's go into a 2025 release that I was pleasantly surprised with. This one is Million Gold, but the elixir version. With this fragrance, they took everything I did not like about Million Gold and elixired it.
We don't care.
On first spray, this one opens with this warm, syrupy sweetness. The vanilla is here, it's creamy, and it instantly feels warm, but also there's this undertone of leather. There's a little bit of fruitiness here that just kind of adds to the better opening. But honestly, the real story of this fragrance just happens to come to life in the dry down. This fragrance is both polished and seductive. And it's also the new kid on the block, so not everyone will have it on. If you want something long-lasting, powerful, and a bit hypnotizing, this one might not miss. Now, I'm gonna bring it back to another fragrance I picked up this year, but this one is from a line of bangers. From the house of Versace, we got Versace Eros Najim. Now, Najim is quiet, confident, attention-grabbing. You get that mint and vanilla right away, so it ties back to the original. And those are a bit cool and warm, and they blend together really nice. But then in comes this amber and tonka, which make the fragrance just feel much richer. And it adds just that perfect pop of freshness that makes this one energetic, but not quite like Versace Eros energy. Now, hear me out. When I think about this fragrance, I think about Aisha Curry.
Like the past 10 years, like I have zero, this sounds weird, but like male attention.
It's a fragrance for people who want to be noticed, but still want to be respected. This one's bolder than some of the fragrances that we've seen in their lineup. It's still youthful, but let me tell you, this one, unforgettable. Now, I ain't got nothing but a bunch of bangers left, so get your pens and pads out, or just watch the video again. Now, this fragrance is legendary. From Creed, we have Centaurus. This is the fragrance that got me 13 compliments in one single day. Yes, 13. Now, despite that, this is not a fragrance that I feel like I can wear every day. There's this elegance to this scent that I feel like needs to be pulled in certain situations. When I spray this fragrance, something feels a little provocative, which is different because this is not a space that Creed was known to perform in. But once they sold off, they said, "We'll show you, we're not a one-trick pony." And because of that, I'm not afraid to pony up more and more dollars for this one if I ever need it. Or recommend that you do the same. Now, this fragrance isn't as useful as some of the other fragrances on this list today, so if you aren't looking for a fragrance that feels like you're an adult, this might not be for you. But if you are, click away. Like, not away, but add to cart. Next, we got Parfum de Marly's Pegasus Exclusive, and this is another fragrance that has that exact same feel. This one takes that almond that we've loved within this fragrance and elevates it like to level 10. Now, this one is still airy, but it's thick. It's still sweet, but it's dialed down. Any way you see me, it's guaranteed to go down. That's just what I get here. I mean, the bottle looks amazing. It makes me feel like it's prepared for war, and this is not a war scent. But maybe in the right situations, in the distance, you might hear her war cry.
Oh, Lord.
Now, when I think about this next fragrance, I want to kind of do them at the same time because they're the same, but also different. The fragrances that we're talking about is By the Fireplace and Hypnotizing Fire. They both have fire in their name, and let me tell you, they're both fire. I felt like Charizard when I said that. Now, in my book, By the Fireplace is a 10 out of 10, and if you like this fragrance, you're gonna enjoy this one as well. Now, they have very similar vibes. I would wear them in the same situations, in the same clothes, and on the same date with my birthday. But one just feels a little bit more elevated, but this one feels a little bit more smooth. So it really depends on what you're looking for. They both feel like you're surrounded by a fireplace. The chestnut is there, the warmth is there, and cuddle buddy activity, oh, it's certified. But if you want to be a little bit different as a lover boy, then I would tell you to go with Hypnotizing Fire. It does come with a higher price tag. It's a little bit more challenging to find, which means your ops won't have it either. But when you think of By the Fireplace, simply because where it's positioned in Sephora's, etc., they might skip this one too. Now, let me put this disclaimer out there. These fragrances are not for everyone. They really cater to a specific person. And those people are people who love to be surrounded by attractive, gorgeous people, because that's what they bring in. And then there was Narcotic Delight from the House of Initio. And by the name itself, you can tell that this one was a little addictive. With this fragrance, think cherry meets spice, cognac meets floral, but also tobacco meets vanilla, patchouli, and cedar. On first spray, the cherry is definitely there, but the true beauty happens to be that this one doesn't come off as Robitussin. A lot of cherry fragrances can come off like cough syrup and not the kind that you lean on. Now, Narcotic Delight is a part of their Cardinal Blends collection, and this fragrance comes off as bold, intoxicating, intriguing, and super provocative. This one is a cheeky twist on cherry and cognac. It really feels very different than a lot of fragrances on the market today. This fragrance is really long lasting, but it's also, I find that this fragrance is good for a few different age ranges, so this fragrance has a ton of versatility. But primarily, this fragrance should be worn for close encounter, seductive, really date nights, etc., and definitely in the fall and winter. Next, I want to talk about a fragrance from Mind Games, and I don't feel like it gets a lot of love. This one is Kingside. It's nutty, it's warm, it's ambery. And by the name, you can tell that this one isn't for the peasants. Now, when I did the official unboxing on this fragrance, I called it out, but in the top here, you got pistachio, cardamom, and grapefruit. Now, pistachio is making this run within the fragrance world, and this brings this nutty aspect to this fragrance, and it's doubled down when you get that cardamom. Now, I find it interesting that on the bottle here, it really calls out the tonka and the Peru balsam, because those are really anchored within the base. Now, what I think is probably more interesting with this fragrance is that the perfumer behind this one said he was really honing in on two words for this fragrance: delicious and colorful. It's almost like a Fruit Loop. All in all, the overall feel for this fragrance is going to be suave, smooth, inviting, and very intriguing. And now the next fragrance I'm bringing into the loop is a fragrance that has done me well for years, and this one is Initio's Rehab. I have this love on first sniff type of relationship with Rehab. I mean, it smells familiar, as it feels a little similar to Spice Bomb, but it's also a little bit elevated. And when I think about my beginnings of wearing this fragrance, oh, it was magical. Compliments galore just rain on in. It's raining compliments. It's raining compliments. But all jokes aside, no matter where I turned, there was someone just wanting to get a whiff and tell me how great I smelled. And it was way before 300,000 subscribers. This is the fragrance that started my love for the House of Initio. That they don't love me back. Them or Parfum de Marly. But it's all good though. You gotta call a spade, and this is a phenomenal scent. It's spicy, it's slightly sweet, it's provocative, it's alluring, and it just evokes this certain feel, like skin to skin. Hailing from their Hedonist collection, this one tells you everything you need to know. Except this, because fragrances don't talk, and it won't tell you about these 20 fragrances that last all day.